Alt Rock Radio Now is recorded and produced at Music City Studio in Kelowna, BC. Music City Studio is a recording studio and rehearsal space that also hosts jam nights and runs workshops and courses. Visit musiccitystudio.ca for more details. Touring musicians welcome. Welcome to another episode of Alt Rock Radio Now, where we spin music from emerging alt and indie bands from around the world. As you heard in the commercial there, we're coming at you from Music City Studio in Kelowna, British Columbia. My name is Vincent Jones and I'm your host, and as ever I'm joined here by my co-hosts Mike Pedersen and Valaura Vedan. Alright, let's dive into this week's first song. It comes from Nashville, Tennessee. What a cool place. I'd love to go to Nashville.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the band. They're a Nashville, Tennessee alt-rock quartet called Bully. The band put out a self-titled EP last fall, and the song we're going to play today comes from that record. It's called Brainfreeze. Once again, that was Bully with Brainfreeze. That's such a rad tune. I will say though, Brainfreeze itself sucks. I had it not long ago. I was drinking an avocado margarita actually, just this past weekend. And oh man, I got the worst.
Fernando's?
Yeah man, you know it. I got the worst brain freeze. Not just once, like I couldn't stop myself. I'm drinking it as fast as I can. I would brain freeze like 3 or 4 times. But anyway, but good song.
Yeah. I think probably now people who are listening and who aren't in Kelowna and haven't been to Fernando's will be wondering about an avocado margarita. So basically it's a margarita where they put in like half an avocado and they blend it in. And so it's still got the lime flavor, but it's like way reduced and it's like thick and creamy and like just really, really good. So if you have the skills in a blender at home, find a recipe online and do it because it's awesome.
Yeah, it sounds weird, but it's
so good. I recommend, I do. This is like doctor's orders. I recommend having several. I do.
I'll take that recommendation.
Okay, moving on. Oh, I should add, by the way, if I sound weird, I don't know if I sound, I don't mean like if I say weird things. I mean, if I sound weird, like vocally, I've got a cold thing, flu thing going on, so
bit of a theme for this show because I'm feeling the same way. So
I was just gonna come around to give you some sympathy, Mike.
Enjoy our nasally voices for today.
Mike, V's the only one who's not battling any illnesses. So
Yeah, surprise, surprise, the boys have cooties.
yeah, exactly.
Too many margaritas.
No, man, it's actual man flu. Okay, it's not... Anyway, just so you know, that's why I sound weird. Anyway, V, you want to say something about Nashville?
Yeah. So I just was going to say, because we were talking about Nashville while the track was playing, my grandparents just did a big kind of like an older person tour, a country music tour. So they got on a plane and they went down and they did like Branson, Missouri and Nashville, Tennessee, Memphis. And so they came back and they were showing me all of their photos and they were really excited about it. And I really, really want to go. I grew up listening to Elvis with my grandfather. So he brought me back, they got me like a little Graceland Christmas ornament, and my grandfather bought me back his ticket from Graceland, and he was telling me all about Nashville and Memphis. And anyway, it's one of those like warm fuzzy things. And I'm sure that there are a lot of people who have that kind of thing, whether it's a city or a place or a music hall, and that's mine. That's all.
Yeah, totally cool.
I'd love to go down there too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. I've got a bit of fun for you guys now, and I've told you about it already, so I hope you've been thinking about it. But if you could wake up tomorrow and be instantly proficient in any instrument you don't currently play, so Mike, I know you play drums, V, I know you sing, not those things though. If you could play guitar, banjo, whatever it is, what would you choose to play? And I think, Mike, you can go first.
Piano, for sure. Actually, when I was like 5, I was put into piano lessons, and the teacher was just awful, just an old hag, right? So that was kind of my first introduction to music, and it totally turned me off at a young age, which is too bad. So I wish that, I was in a small town, so I don't think there was many options, but I wish that I had kind of been, brought to somebody that would have inspired me to actually play piano. But it's still, I'm not too old, right? I can still learn, and I'm going to at some point. So I think piano is one of my favorite instruments by far.
Cool. And I should add, by the way, I am including singing as an instrument, so you could add that one.
Yeah, and that's another thing.
Okay.
But piano.
Okay, piano. Cool. You could be Elton John. Maybe I'll let you have singing and piano.
We'll see.
V, what about you?
Yeah, this one's really hard for me. Violin is my favorite instrument, I think. It's one of those instruments for me where I just hear a sound or a chord and it just, I don't know, just strikes something within me. But then that said, I like the idea of being able to play a guitar just from the portability standpoint, from the being able to like just pick it up and strum along with friends at the campfire, pack it in the car on a road trip, that kind of perspective. And then lastly, believe it or not, jazz is my favorite kind of music. And because I do enjoy singing, I've always thought that it would be really cool to be able to play piano, just because the combination of piano and jazz vocals is really rad. So, I'm going to pull Mike this week and not actually pick a favorite and just have like 5.
Nice.
I actually have a funny story for you guys about the violin. So when I was in primary school, the school I went to, they offered violin as one of the instruments you could learn. So I was like, oh, that sounds sweet. I must have been like 10, 11 maybe. So I signed up to take it. And I didn't practice probably as much as I should have. In fact, I didn't. I know I didn't. And but I did try, but the thing with it, and I think the thing that's frustrating for a lot of people with musical instruments, is I didn't feel like I was making progress.
Right. And
I was a kid, and my parents would encourage me to practice and stuff. But anyway, that's all by and by. Eventually it got to the point where I didn't feel like I was making progress and I wasn't enjoying it. So I decided to pack it in. I decided to pack it in and quit. And I went to talk to the teacher and said, look, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm not enjoying it, or whatever an 11-year-old says to mean that. And instead of encouraging me and being like, well, stick with it, try this and this, she just looked at me and she was like, yeah, I think it's for the best.
No way.
Yeah. So I think I played the violin for a few months, but I don't know how to play it in the least, So I had one. I used to take it home. I snapped a lot of strings. Actually, I probably know how to restring a violin.
You at least learned something.
Yeah. I remember one time being so frustrated. I was trying to practice in my room, And I liked sports when I was a kid, and my parents must have been like, you need to practice your violin. So I'd gone upstairs to practice, and I'd been trying really hard to get this one note or whatever I was doing, and I was frustrated, and I ended up snapping a string by accident. But that just compounded the frustration, and I'm sure I just burst into tears. It's like, Anyway.
That's cute and sad. So what instrument do you want to play?
For me, I'd have to say guitar. That's the go-to. I mean, I played some guitar in secondary school. Know a few chords, but I'm not proficient or great at it or anything like that. I know maybe one or two chords. So yeah, that would have to be the one for me, because then I could start a band. Yay!
You play a mean bass guitar.
That's true. We did have that little jam session that one time. Slapped the bass pretty nice there. Eh?
Yeah.
They didn't put the batteries in, so nobody could hear him, so that helps.
There's a legend about the Sex Pistols that Sid Vicious, the bass player, basically they brought him into the band because he just had that appeal about him and the right image that they were looking for, but he couldn't play bass guitar, so they kept his amp unplugged all the time during concerts. Well, that's kind of one of those urban legends. Apparently that's not true. He's actually quite a proficient bass player. Yeah, so
that story is true for you though.
It is true for me.
You gave it 110%, and there was no sound coming out of that amp.
You know what? The people
didn't. For effort.
It was like you were playing it, yeah.
All I know is nobody complained.
No, we kept going.
Yeah.
For quite a while, I think. Too.
Yeah. Exactly. Anyway, our next song this week comes from a band called Lost Years. They're from a place called Gary, Indiana. And if you're a fan of pop punk, you're really going to enjoy this tune. It's from a record that they released earlier this month, and the song is called Hell for the Company. Once again, that was Lost Years with Hell for the Company. I want to continue what we were just talking about a little bit. We were talking about which instrument you'd pick to be proficient in if you could pick any. Continuing on that a little bit, if you could be any musician who's currently active, famous or not, and have their role in the music world, but still be yourself. So let me put this in actual terms. Let's say you're a big fan of Bono. If you could be Bono, and you've got his ability, you're in U2, all the records that they've made, they've got your name all over it, but you're still you, who you are now, if that makes sense. You still look like you do and all that. So you're just talking about pure musical ability. Who would you choose to be? And I think, who looks the most ready for this question? Let's go with Mike.
I've talked about the Red Hot Chili Peppers and Chad Smith, I'm sure more than once on this podcast. So yeah, for me, I'd love to be Chad Smith playing drums in the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Nice.
Easy.
It's like you knew I was going to ask that question. You didn't really. I told you like just before we hit record. Valaura.
Yeah. Sitting here thinking about it, there's so many people that I admire. I have a kind of a girl crush on Ritzy from The Joy Formidable, who you will recall from the best concert ever that I mentioned before in a previous episode. So I think that would be really cool. But I essentially want to be Ritzy as she is now because she's just so awesome and badass. I also think that the musicians who are really collaborative and musically gifted, people like Norah Jones, who just did an album with the singer from Green Day. Why can't I remember his name?
Oh, Billy Joe Armstrong.
Yeah, and it's so good. It's such a good album. People like that I think are really cool. People who kind of have their niche but blend between different genres and are really well respected. I really appreciate that.
Cool. I'd be Mark Hoppus out of Blink-182. I love that guy. He's so rad. Just love the music and the stuff he's worked on over the years, and then at the same time I follow him on Twitter and all that stuff, and he's hilarious as well. Although I guess I wouldn't actually be him. So, but anyway,
are you taking his humor as like one of the traits along with being able to play instruments?
Yeah, I'm taking it.
Okay,
taking it, and I'm having it. If you got a problem with that, Mark, you'll have to listen to the show. And
I think our fans will appreciate you wanting his sense of humor instead of yours.
Shit, that's harsh.
Just you have a cheesy sense of humor.
It's true, dude. He has a cheesy sense of humor too.
Why you admire him so much?
That's true. No, but that's who I would pick.
Okay.
Outside of that, maybe Johnny Marr for pure musical ability, because he plays mean guitar. Like, that would be nice.
Nice.
I'd be down. Shall we go to your pick, Mike? If
sure. The track I'm going to play today is from Ginger and Rose. They're from Vernon, and this album was actually recorded right here. Was shamelessly promoting the studio and all the people that come through here.
Speaking of, though, where are we right now? Might as well do a full-on shameless
Music City Studio.
There you go.
In Kelowna, BC. But anyways, the album is Full Moon Sessions. It was actually recorded during a full moon. Kind of cool. And so this was back in the fall, and they're just finally about to release it, and that's actually happening this weekend in Vernon. So anyone, if they're listening to this when we release it, that's happening on the 1st up in Vernon. But you can check them out on Bandcamp. And the song I'm going to play is Willing.
With what I am willing to fight for. Picture it, dark side of my mind, and I can see everything, everything. Picture it, dark side of my mind, and I can see everything. Never can I, 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 never can I. Picture it. Picture it, picture it, dark side of my mind, and I can see everything. Picture it, dark side of my mind, and I can see everything, everything. Picture it.
That was Willing from Ginger and Rose.
Nice. Are you going to the release?
I don't. I'm going to try and make it up there. I've got Gordon James is starting this weekend, so it depends what time we finish. But I'm hoping to. It's nice to see, start to finish and actually see the release. And they're actually a duo, but as you heard, there's more. It's like all their friends kind of join them for the recording, and they're all going to be getting together for the release show, which is pretty cool. So normally it's just duo, so it's kind of a rare thing too. So I'm hoping I can get up there and check it out. Yeah.
Yeah, I asked because I thought I saw on Facebook that you were going. So
yeah, I said yes, but
okay.
Maybe I should have said maybe.
Oh, you're one of those teasers, hey?
Yeah.
Interesting.
You learned something about me.
You two are ridiculous. I wish people could see your guys' expressions sometimes and not just hear your voices.
Let's just say the sexual tension is palpable in the room. Anyway. I want to ask you guys another question, and obviously I always throw questions out to you, but let me know if you have an answer for this one. When I was younger, I remember the Fugees song Killing Me Softly. It was a cover song. And I remember it being on the radio, and my dad was in the bath, and I was sitting on the toilet seat, as you do, chatting with my dad. And they must have said something on the radio about it being a cover song. And I was only young, and I didn't know what a cover song was, so I asked my dad. And he explains to me exactly what a cover song is. And I said to him, oh, so they always make the song better then? And he's like, well, no, not always. It's sort of, the artist has a different take on it and they do it their way and blah, blah, blah. And it didn't make sense to me. I was like, but why would you bother doing it then if somebody's already done it? You're not bringing anything new, Right. Obviously, there's all these subtle things to it that I just didn't understand at that age. So I'm wondering, with you guys, is there any terms you first heard, musical terms, when you were younger, that confused you thought was something else, or you just totally didn't get?
Yeah, no, I can't think of anything offhand.
V?
Yeah, I can't say that I do either, but I do have a childhood memory story, so maybe we can move into that.
Give her.
I remember when I was a kid, my parents had this like old brown sedan, and it was like one of those cars where like it just kind of made you instantly car sick as soon as you got into it. It's like had like that light tan brown like velvety seats, and it just, I don't know, I just remember that car. Well, we had a tape deck in the car, and my mom had a compilation tape, and on the tape was this classic 80s song, and the lyrics go, "Now you're messing with a son of a bitch." And it was like my favorite song for 2 months because, like most kids, I was not allowed to swear. However, being a little bit liberal, my mom believed that if it was in the song, then it's artistic license and I'm allowed to swear. So I very distinctly remember when we were driving in the car, I would like play that song as loud as possible and then rewind it and play it again because I loved it because I got to swear really, really loud. Yeah.
Awesome. Do you have anything like that you want to share?
No, I was trying to. I have an early memory of being left in the truck while my dad was in the bank, and I'm trying to remember what the song was. But I was in the truck with the song playing, and it was driving me insane. I hated it, and I didn't know how to turn off the radio. That's like a very early memory, and maybe it'll come to me what the song name was, but I sort of hear it in my head, but it might come to me.
Cool. Well, you think about it, and meanwhile, we'll play another song.
All right.
Next up, we've got a song from a Los Angeles dream acoustic pop duo called Twin Oaks. The duo put out a new 7-track release called The Lion's Den on January 7th, and we're going to listen to a song from it right now. This is Constellation Lines.
Constellation line.
So once again, that was Constellation Lines from Twin Oaks. I don't know if you guys saw this recently, but I was listening to the radio yesterday, BBC Radio 5 Live, and on there they were talking about Prince. He's suing 22 of his fans, I believe it is, for sharing content that they shouldn't have shared. So basically he's suing fans who've taken pictures or video at concerts on the phone, posted it up to Facebook and that kind of thing. Anyway, he's suing them for 22 million, I guess, collectively, yeah. And what they did is they had a top media lawyer on, and it was quite interesting because this guy was explaining the situation. And first of all, he was saying how, legally Prince is well within his rights to do this. At the end of the day, the artist can maintains control over their image rights, and any stuff that comes out of a concert, whether it's video, photos, they're part of the performance, and the artist always is the one who owns the stuff that belongs to the performance. So yeah, technically those people have done something illegal. Whether he can actually in real terms do anything about it remains to be seen, because can they even pay up, right? But what I found was interesting, one of the things that he said is obviously the laws regarding all this stuff haven't really caught up with the social media age, and the fact that now you can slap up a picture on Facebook and Instagram and all this stuff real quickly. And the laws are very old. They've not caught up with this. And an example he gave was the fact that a CD, when you buy a CD, you're essentially agreeing to the contract that you're going to use that CD in your own home, and you're not going to use it in any other way than on the CD. So you're going to play it in a CD player, and that's it, basically. If you take that and you rip it onto your iTunes as an MP3 file, you're actually breaking the law. So anyone who's taken a CD and put it on their iTunes has changed the format. So as soon as you change the format of the CD or the music file, you are breaking the law. So that was just his example of how they need to revise these laws to meet the modern times and to make them more realistic and fair to everyone at the end of the day. Because they've got to be fair to the artists, of course, but they've also got to be fair to the fans who pay good money as well, right? But I just thought that was fascinating that, we all take CDs and throw them onto, maybe I shouldn't even admit this now, onto iTunes, but that's technically illegal. And I was just like, wow. I mean, the Prince thing is crazy as well, but it doesn't really surprise me. An artist,
for sure. And I know with comedians and stuff like that, that's a big problem because they have material that they're working on for whatever, right? And they're doing that in every single city, and sometimes they're working on stuff that's going to go on a special. And if people are, filming their set, then that stuff is going up before they've even really developed the material and stuff like that, and it kind of spoils what they're going for. So it's a totally different.
It's a real tricky thing. It really is, because when an artist is performing, it's their work and they've put so much time and effort into it. But then at the same time, as a fan, you want to share the experience.
Totally.
And so I see it from both sides. I think more than anything else, probably the best way to do it, because I think one of the things that bugs me about the Prince situation, even though he's well within his rights and it's his performance and he carefully manages his image and all that, and he's well within his rights to do that.
Yeah.
He's attacking his fans, people who've, spent a lot of money to go and see him. And I'm sure what's been shared is nothing sensitive and nothing that you can't already find on YouTube. And a little clip of a song. I don't think that he's going to be losing any money over it or anything like that.
It's likely shaky and it probably sounds like shit, and it's not something you can sell or whatever, right?
Exactly. I think a situation where, like with a comedian like that, or even an artist who doesn't want to be recorded, if they said at the beginning of the show, look, please don't record the show because, one, I either want you to be in the moment and enjoy what's going on, or two, I don't even want you to record this because this is brand new material and I'm trying to build some buzz around it and keep it a hush.
Right.
People who are there are your fans. They're a captive audience. They want to do what you want.
Yeah.
If you tell them that, the chances that they're going to record it and put it on the internet are much slimmer.
Yeah. And
people understand why you're doing it then, rather than it being this sort of looking like another bitchy rock star who just wants to be a diva. And
I mean, I think I haven't read the story, so please correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds to me like there probably could be other extenuating circumstances in regards to the suing. I would anticipate that probably his lawyer sent out a cease and desist letter. Fans who can sometimes be arrogant. We've all seen the ones who, will stand up in front of you and have like their arms raised above their head so they can record the entire show on their crappy little iPhone and are ruining it for you. It's that kind of arrogance. So, I mean, it's entirely possible, I suppose, that a cease and desist letter was sent out. They didn't want to play by the rules, and that's what happens. Like, you have to be aware of legal ramifications if you're getting that letter. Maybe the letter didn't get sent out, but I mean, what is it, like 11 people out of 20, all of
22?
Mm-hmm. Okay, 22. That's still, I mean, that's a drop in the bucket compared to the number of fans who go out to his show, and probably the number of fans who've posted stuff online.
Right.
So
Yeah, I mean, it could just be making an example out of a small number to sort of worry everybody else. But I should add, at the same time, I just heard this on the radio yesterday. Like, I heard the discussion, and I was like, oh, I should talk about that tomorrow. Actually, we were going to record last night, but then sickness got in the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just in my head. I made a note on my papers here to mention it, and I don't know the ins and outs either. They didn't go into the full details of what exactly the fans had done, whether it was video, pictures, but they just made it sound like it was sort of a social media sort of casual type thing. They had a fan on who'd been to a lot of Prince shows, and he wasn't very eloquent, but basically the gist of his argument was, I've seen him all over, and all I ever do is this, that, and the other, take a little bit of video, and it's not a long blah blah blah. You're saying I share it on Facebook. So I don't know the ins and outs, and there may be, like you say, other circumstances, V, that make it, when we learn them, we're like, oh, I get it now. And like I say, that wasn't the main thing that I found super interesting. It was the CD thing that just sort of blew my mind. I was like, whoa, I didn't know that was illegal. Crap. Anyway, I think we should get into another song here.
actually, before we get into the other song, we when we were listening to the last song, Mike was able to figure out what song it was that he
it was
annoyed by in the car.
Black Velvet from Alana Miles, and it was released in 1989, so I would have been 4 years old when that came out on the radio, and that would have been me locked in the truck just going crazy, hating the song for whatever. I don't know why. I think maybe just the repetitiveness of it or something like that. It's just drove me insane.
I used to really, really very strongly dislike that song too, and I think there's something about it that can be a little bit grating. And I really disliked it until my dad asked me to learn it so that I could perform it with him. And when I was learning the song, I learned more about the song, and the song is actually about Elvis. The Black Velvet is a reference to the Black Velvet paintings in the 70s. And if you listen, it says, it talks about girls screaming for him. It talks about Memphis. It talks about like him growing up. And once I knew where the song was coming from, I appreciated it a lot more because I understood some of the reasons for the musical choices that they made with the song.
Cool.
So, yeah, that's my input.
Cool.
Yeah.
You were going to say something else?
No, I'm done. I hate that song. So yeah.
Still no more love for the song.
No.
So anyway, I think it's me now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this week I'm gonna play a track called "Hotel Beds," and it's by a band called the Rockies. Now the Rockies are a Kelowna band. Who were originally the Malibu Nights. So they're kind of going through a bit of a rebrand, and the new song is really awesome. I should also mention that I saw these guys at a private house party a couple of weeks ago, and it was amazing. They have so much energy. So if you get a chance to see them live, they're lots and lots of fun, and they're really good guys.
Cool.
So
I haven't heard it yet, and they're all good friends of mine. I went to school with them and stuff like that. And,
aren't
Dean
you
was
fancy?
an instructor, and Rod was the cage guy, and Dan was in a class with me and stuff like that.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool. Okay, so Rockies, take a listen.
I'll never forget that night we met, watching you work the room. You walked up just to say hello, or the smell of your perfume. Well, you ordered wine and I had the Jack, a hot glass black tie affair. And I was the cards you were ready to deal, and all I could do was just stare. And then you said, we'll get a hotel on the wrong side of town, and we'll make love till the morning.
again, that was the Rockies with Hotel Beds.
So you can find all of the bands that we play on the show on our social media. So you can find us on Facebook and Twitter. Just look for Alt Rock Radio Now on Facebook and on Twitter as well, and you'll find us. Actually, we're also on Google Plus too, believe it or not, if anyone uses that. You can find us on there. So yeah, you can find us there. And basically what we do on Facebook, that's the one to go to. When every episode comes out, we tag all the bands that we have on that episode, so you can find them through Facebook, like their page, find their music, all that kind of jazz. So keep that in mind. That's where you'll find it. And I don't know how you're listening to this show. Perhaps you're listening to us on iTunes, or perhaps you're listening to us on YouTube. But whichever platform you're using, please subscribe if you've not done so already. My headphones are falling off my head here. That's why you guys are laughing. Hang on a second. There we go, that's better. My hat's just pushing them away. Anyway, I think we'll get into our penultimate song of this week's episode. And it brings us back to Canada, where we're broadcasting from. And if you're not from Canada, you're from somewhere else in the world, and you think the Canadian music scene is all about Justin Bieber, who's been in the news a lot lately, because he's so badass. Nickelback, Shania Twain, all that jazz, you'd be wrong. As you may know, or may have heard on our old show, the Music City podcast, there's a lot of great music being made up here, like really good. Anyway, I digress. Our next song comes from Shawn Clarke, and Shawn's an indie folk singer-songwriter from Toronto, and back in the fall he put out a lovely little ukulele EP called Sunday Quiet, and we're going to play a song from that release today. Here is Tranzac Club.
We met in line at Tranzac Club, your friends were friends of mine. You said your name was Callie Roy, but Callie would be fine. I felt my cheeks go bright blood red, I mumbled out a sound and fumbled with my camera lens and dropped it to the ground. You asked was I a photographer, I lied and said that's true. You asked where one could see my work, I gave my card to you. You said you were an amateur, would love to learn the trade, and wrote your number on my wrist and smiled and walked away. La da 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 da, la da 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 da, la da la da la da la da la da da da. I called you up to say hello, invite you on a date, to film some bands on Saturday. You said that would be great. Outside the hall, my knees were weak, my heart beat through my chest. You showed up with your camera bag draped over your summer dress. We sat apart on either side, the dark wings of the stage. I must have missed the first 3 songs determining your age. But you were fast, a shutterbug, an ace of photography. And I would nearly lose my mind each time you'd smile at me. La da 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 da, la da 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 da, la da la da la da la da la da da da, la da da. La And late at night I couldn't sleep, my photos to review. And I couldn't use a single frame, as every shot was of you.
So once again, that was Shawn Clarke with Tranzac Club. That's a lovely song, and I should add as well that Shawn also plays with 4 other talented musicians, and they're all named on the act's Facebook page, so be sure to click on over there and give the page a like, all that good stuff if you're interested. And you know what, do that with all the bands that we have on for that matter, at least the ones that you like anyway, because you know, I know that they'd all really appreciate it and it'd mean a lot to them, so keep that in mind. And speaking of Facebook pages, if you like the show, don't forget to give us a like, and you know, tell all your friends, invite your friends to like us, share stuff, you know, all that jazz, because we're just trying to build exposure about the show and therefore exposure about the bands that we have on, because the more people that listen, the more people that hear the bands, which is what it's really all about.
Mm-hmm.
So
can I interrupt for a second?
Yeah.
Okay, you were talking about Justin Bieber a couple of minutes ago, and some coworkers of mine were telling me some really interesting stuff about the whole Justin Bieber law scandal thing. So I don't know if you know this, but the whole like drunk driving thing, apparently he can't get deported for that. But what he can get deported for is the egging the house.
That's crazy.
And I was like, what?
Well, you know, I think it's a real problem. People going around egging houses, like, it's getting ridiculous. Something needs to be done.
Drinking and driving, whatever. You know, it's not a big deal. That's only like a matter of life and death. But egging people's houses, man,
that's
get
crazy.
him out.
That is crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Twerp.
Did you say twerp?
Yeah.
Mike, you know you love Justin Bieber.
Not so much.
You're a believer, man.
Yeah. No.
Well, by the way, this is episode 10, hey? So we're into double figures now.
Yeah.
And that means we've had, what, almost 70 bands on the show.
Yeah. I was going to mention, you said you talked about the Music City podcast briefly, and I think people are just finding the new show, Alt Rock Radio. And if you're caught up on all 10 episodes, there's 50 of the Music City podcast, and there's probably 300 bands or something like that to check out. So, if you want more material, it's all there.
I was just going to say our back catalogue.
Yeah.
You can hear how things have evolved.
Yeah, totally.
If you think I'm bad now, I was really bad back in the day. So, yeah, keep that in mind.
No one there to encourage you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you like what you're hearing, leave a rating and a review, because that helps us reach more. But we're staying in what's hot, which is kind of cool. We've been a featured podcast for quite a while, and that's kind of based on some of the ratings and reviews, which is cool. So
cool. You know, I think we'd stay in what's hot if we put our picture on there.
Yeah, maybe
on the little thumbnail there.
We'll see. We can try it out.
Maybe
we'll probably
not,
get dropped right away. Yeah.
Oh, God. Anyway, our final song this week comes from a band that Valaura and I saw live here in Kelowna just this past weekend. Actually, that's where I had my avocado margarita there at Fernando's. They're called Heard in the Mountains, and they're a chamber post-rock 5-piece out of Vancouver, so here in BC. And they were playing with 2 of our talented local acts, Windmills, who's been on the show before, and he was also on the Music City podcast.
Yeah, well, at least a couple times.
Yeah, we interviewed him as well. Yeah, right. That's right. And Joyful Door as well, who I think we had on the old show, but we'll definitely be having on this show at some point soon as well, because they've got a new record on the way. Anyway, Heard in the Mountains put on a killer show. They all did, in fact. It was great. And I think we should take a listen to their song here. It's called Sills.
Heritage window pane. don't deserve her fate, and even less, I don't deserve your grace. I don't deserve her fate, and even less, I don't deserve your grace.
So once again, that was Heard in the Mountains with Sills. It really was a great performance that we saw this past weekend. I think it was only the quality of the performance that saved me from certain death by brain freeze. Well, maybe that and a little bit of tequila as well. But anyway, I should mention about that song. If you liked it, head on over to the band's Bandcamp page because it's a free download. So you can get it right away, throw it into your iTunes, and it won't be illegal because it'll be an MP3.
Right.
So you're already golden. Like, look at us looking out for your welfare.
But saving you from the Po.
They've got some other music up there as well that you can listen to, buy, all that jazz. So heading over there and check that out. And one more thing I wanted to mention. Last week we did the This Day in Musical History. So I've got sort of a spin on that before we go here. I've got musical birthdays. But I'm doing it for the day the show comes out. So for us, that's tomorrow, January 30th. And we have Phil Collins of Genesis, who was born on January 30th, 1951. And then we've also got Steve Marriott of influential UK mod rock band Small Faces, was born on this day in 1947. So there you go.
You know that when it comes to Phil Collins, all I ever think about is the Tarzan soundtrack. The Disney Tarzan. Because if I'm not mistaken, he was the person who did that soundtrack for Disney's Tarzan animated movie. And the only reason I know about him is because when I was in choir in school, we did those songs, and I remember his name being on our sheet music, and I was like, who is this guy?
Genesis, man.
Yeah, no, just know him from Disney Tarzan.
You know, I often think, I like some Phil Collins stuff, but I often think of the Eminem song, Stan. Because they mentioned Phil Collins in that when he's gone off the rails and he's about to crash. He's talking about Phil Collins in the air of the night and, blah, blah, blah. He could have saved that other guy from drowning, Anyway, that's what I think of sometimes when I hear Phil Collins.
That's way more cool than mine.
I know. It's because I'm wearing a ball cap this week.
Yeah, okay.
I'm snagging on my pants as I do the podcast. Anyway, that's it for this week's episode of Alt Rock Radio Now. As always, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for listening. We do this to promote great music, which means we need awesome music to promote. So not only that, though, we need awesome folks to listen as well. So thank you for tuning in. If you guys don't listen, there's no point in us doing it. So thank you, and we'll see you again next week. Goodbye for now.
Alt Rock Radio Now is brought to you in part by Czek Creative. Czek Creative is a Kelowna-based digital agency that delivers results across Canada. Learn more at csekcreative.com. That's CSEK creative.com.